Beautiful day out today. It's not quite June yet, but it is football season. It's great to be back talking football. Dave, Eskimos open up on Sunday, on the field, Medicals on Saturday. Let's just go over this team that we're expecting to see on the field this year. And as they head to training camp, they've got some decisions to make, but there's no decision to make at quarterback. Mike Riley's the guy. We know that as long as he stays healthy, he's going to play. After that, a little bit of a question.
I would say so. James Franklin should be the number 2 quarterback. You have Thomas DeMarco in the mix, though, who is a former backup, started a few games for the Lions a few years back, knows Jason Moss's system because he was in Ottawa last year as one of the 3 quarterbacks under Henry Burris. And then you have Jordan Lynch. What will his role be? Will he be on special teams? Will there be special packages for him? But 13 is the man, that's for sure.
Protecting the quarterback. The O-line was a good one last year. I don't think there's going to be any changes there. The only real change for the Eskimos is that we've had a retirement this week, and Greg Wood didn't play much last year because of injury. So I think we can say the O-line's going to be there and going to be as good as last year.
Probably the most stable group of the bunch, and not just because they have all 5 starters back, but the depth in behind them. You have Chris Greaves, who has played upwards of 80 CFL games, and he could be their 6th man. You have Danny Grew, who was their number 1 draft choice last year in the CFL draft. So, and there's other players in the mix on that O-line, so this is probably the most solid group that they have.
Who's the quarterback going to throw the ball to? Well, Kenny Stafford won't be here anymore. He'll be missed because he put up a lot of yards and scored a lot of touchdowns last year, but the Eskimos still have 2 pretty good receivers at the top of their depth chart.
I think the biggest question is, well, a couple questions. Who replaces the production of Kenny Stafford, especially 10 touchdowns? That's hard to replace. And secondly, are they going to go with 3 imports, 2 Canadians, or are they going to go 3 Canadians, 2 imports because Chris Getzlaff is in the mix? That'll be very interesting to see how they work that out in training camp.
And of course, Darius Bowman and Darrell Walker will get the majority of balls thrown their way all season long. Running back. I've talked to Coach Jason Moss, and he feels that running back might be the most difficult decision to make and the most hotly contested job on the team.
Well, if John White is the John White of 2014 before he ruptured his Achilles in training camp last year, the Eskimos will be fine, but they got some interesting options. Shakir Bell showed some promise, and I thought Akeem Shavers, even though we saw him very late in the year, I liked his body of work, not just as a man who could run out of the backfield, but he's got good pass-catching abilities. The one thing John White does really well, back to him, he protects the quarterback. His protection ability is very good, his blocking. So you got to be a blocker first in this league if you're going to be a running back. So I think that's probably going to be something that the coaching staff is going to look at with all 3. And there's a guy by the name of Joe McKnight around as well. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
All right, that's a look at the offense and what to expect when training camp opens up. Stay tuned. We'll talk about defense next.